guess, evaluating film of the first game, what you like most about the way you guys played?
You know, I mean, we flew around to the ball. Obviously there's a lot of things to clean up, but you know, we played physical up front. We got the 2 takeaways, which were huge, and then the guys just kept playing. They didn't blink an eye, you know, and because it was kind of tough, you know. Our first games are always tough. You don't know what they're gonna do. You practice a whole bunch of plays, and we were kind of joking, like, you know, we practiced a whole bunch of stuff that we thought we were gonna see that, but we didn't see. But we banked that now. But you know, I was just proud that, you know, obviously the result, you know, to get the win, and then the guys played hard, they played fast. We got 2 takeaways, and then one of those was on like a sudden change, you know, because we talk about that, making sure that, you know, it doesn't matter. Sometimes things will happen on the offensive side of the ball, but we go out there and then we got to have a sudden change and take the ball away.
Thomas comes away with, I think it's 7 pressures. It was close to the national lead this week. Just what did you like from him, from what you saw on tape?
Again, yeah, so with him, just his twitch, you know, and I think he got a sack or half a sack, whatever that was, but he just has some tremendous twitch, you know, and able to create chaos there in the backfield, you know, just him getting upfield on stuff. So we're going to be looking forward to a lot of that with him, you know, still playing stout with his technique, but he's slippery getting through the offensive line.
For a guy to do that on the interior, for you guys especially, just how impactful is that?
I mean, it is great. I mean, just because it's, you know, guys with great quickness like that, and you're playing against some bigger bodies and guys who don't change direction as well sometimes, you know, interiorly. I mean, that's very impactful because, you know, you can draw up schemes and all that type of stuff, but when you could just let them go and play technique and a guy makes a play, winning his one-on-ones, that's very impactful.
Is he a guy who's, you mentioned the twitchiness, who can move all the way outside like a 4 and impact there? How do you see his role kind of progressing?
Well, he's been all across the defensive line, so where I see it progressing, like that's going to be week to week where we need him, you know. But you know, he's been playing, you know, that, you know, 5 technique, you know, and some of that, and then 3 technique. That's probably about where he needs to play and be.
Pretty much a new secondary. How did you feel like they performed on Saturday?
I mean, we performed well. I mean, we got to get closer on some routes. You know, Idaho State did some stuff we got to be tighter on coverage, and we talked about that. But you know, just proud of how the guys played. I mean, it was a lot of plays, and some guys played a lot of plays, you know, within that. But I would say, you know, a lot of reps, you know, with J-Rob, Skyler, Jack Kane, you know, Noble, Cy got in the mix too. Wanted to find out, you know, exactly what we have, and you know, hopefully we can get some of those other younger guys in there this week.
Kane played, I think he was tied for the most snaps on defense. What is it about him that has kind of garnered your trust?
Just his communication and preparation, the way that he communicates on the field, and you know, he kind of gets everybody lined up and he executes his job too. And that's kind of was garnered my trust, our trust within the defense, you know. So.
What about from a physicality and performance standpoint? Like what does he bring to that position?
Yeah, just where he needs to be. So with that, you know, operating from a defensive back standpoint, you got to make the calls. You're kind of like the quarterback of the defense. So you got to know where you're going to be and then make the call so that you can, what we call setting the umbrella. And then from just his skill set standpoint, I mean, just him lining up and doing his job, you know, because that's a big thing of just the trustworthiness of guys. Just, you know, you know what to do, but then now you got to actually do it.
Yeah.
So.
And probably a lot of film study, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's smart. He's always calling things out, and you can hear him back there talking about, you know, alignments, alerting emotions, and then you got to get yourself in position to play.
I don't know if you know much about his journey, but he was a walk-on, obviously, and spent his time with special teams, paid his dues. Like, it takes a lot to get where he's from, coming from where he's from. Like, how would you just describe his, you know, from that standpoint?
I mean, he's persevered. You know, I mean, you know, you got the Bolitnikov winner out there, Mike Hass, who was one of those guys, and that's been in this program for a long time. You know, with guys just working their way through Catan, you know, stuff like that. So anyhow, I just think that he's persevered a lot, and it's a testament to him, you know, and him earning a scholarship as well, you know, because he got that, just him being dependable and accountable.
Looking at San Diego State, what have you seen from them? It's kind of a different beast this week, it seems like, from last week.
Yeah, they ran the ball really well, you know, versus Texas E-Commerce. They ran the ball really well. Their back had 200 yards. They got really good skill on the outside, a freshman quarterback, and they got very athletic tight ends. And I think their head coach who's calling the plays does a great job. He did that from way back. He's at Kent State, and then at Colorado. So they got a lot of tools, and then, you know, it kind of some of which is the same, but they got better athletes, and no knock to Idaho State, but they got, you know, some guys who can run, who can you know, break tackles in the running back, you know, and pretty shifty there. And you know, it's going to be a great challenge for us that we're up for, and we keep pressing our guys as we, you know, at each week that we got to get better, and the biggest growth between week 1 and week 2.
Olu goes out early, probably changes your planned rotations for the day. Was there one guy in particular who had to step up and maybe play a bigger role than you were thinking of going into the game?
No, I mean, we kind of played with, you know, obviously Nico was on the other side, Z came in there, and then had to play with Tyree a little bit. So there was no one particular guy. Within that, I mean, I think that room is developing, you know, also with the addition of Shamar, who's going to end up seeing the field this week. So, you know, unfortunately, he got nicked up a little bit, and you know, couldn't play because we look forward to him setting edges in his pass rush, but we got other guys behind him that are ready to roll, and, you know, it's the next man up mentality.
And we talked in training camp about Kobe coming in late and having to knock some rust off. When it got to actually the game time, what did you see from him?
You know, Kobe got in there, so I can't remember exactly how many snaps it was, you know, but again, just as a whole, we got to play tighter coverage, you know, and kind of just knocking that rust off of him. You know, hey, man, you got to play great technique and great eyes. And, I mean, he got a couple plays in there, but this is going to be the week right here. So we're going to find out a lot about, you know, especially against these good receivers San Diego State has.
It seemed like there were a couple of times when you guys were in a zone and their receivers were able to find a little spot in that. Did you see that? And
No, we were in man. That's why I go back to tight coverage. You know, we got to understand, like, okay, it might be 3rd and 10, and we got to go get down and get on those guys. Okay. You know, because the pressure, if we're going to have tight coverage, we're trying to get the quarterback to hold that ball a little bit longer so that way our rush can get there. And then on the other hand, you know, our rush has got to get there, you know, at the same time too. So it was, yeah.
You brought up their running back. I think he has more yards from scrimmage than anybody in college football through his career. Like, what do you see on film from him, and what makes him so effective?
Yeah, he just runs. He's tough, you know, and then he does some really good, has a really good spin move, some jump cuts, stuff like that. But he's physical, and he'll run downhill on you. And they run all the different run schemes in there to keep you honest up front. But you know, even watching some of the stuff when he was at Kent State and then transferring over there, I mean, he's a tough physical runner.
I guess it's good you had a month facing you guys every day,
Yeah.
huh?
I mean, our running backs with Jam and those guys, tough and physical as well. So, no, like I said, we got to go on the road, you know, and our mentality is business trip, going on the road and versus a high quality opponent, and you know, we just got one job: to play fast, play physical, and let's go execute.
With you guys missing Isaiah for the first half because of the targeting penalty, how do you kind of foresee just kind of coping with that?
Yeah, I mean, we got some young guys, you know, there too, so might move around Melvin a little bit. And then we got Dexter being there, and then, you know, Aiden and Jairus. So Coop has been developing that room, moving those guys around. So until we get them back in the second half, like I said, it's just next man up mentality.
All right. Thanks, Coach.